Well, it's the I think it's the 6th of Feb today, and we have just had horrendous weather for the last, well, since before Christmas. Unfortunately last night we had really strong gales and one of our old fruit trees is blown down. You can just see it there collapsed. That's an old Morgan Sweet cider apple tree. I'm going to go down and have a look at it in a minute. But interestingly enough, I actually did a little video around that orchard about a month ago because I was worried that these old trees were going to go. So I'll just cut to the film I did a month ago and then we'll walk down and have a look at it. I thought just to have a look at these old apple trees we've got in the what remains of the old orchard. They're getting pretty tired now. Unfortunately, we're starting to lose branches off them. You can tell, you can probably hear it's quite windy now. I mean, you can see there where a branch is blown off there and it's rotten. And I notice this branch has come down, it's still covered in mistletoe. Snapped off there. And that's come down somewhere on the tree. There's a few dead branches there already. And if we go over across to this other tree now, they're both Morgan Sweet cider apple trees, by the way. You can see a branch came down a long time ago there, and it's looking a bit rotten. And we come around this side, and a branch has come down this winter. You can see it's just snapped off, just up there. So you can see here how windy it is. Dotted around, we've got a few other old trees in this orchard. They're a bit in the distance. Old sycamore there. Another old pear there, over there. And there's an apple tree that's gone down a long time ago, leaning over, but it's still alive. And there's a few other old trees around the farm, but I'm just wondering how long before a tree actually does blow down on the farm. Because we've had quite a lot of gales at the moment. The ground's really wet from all the rain. I mean, you just see the water under the tree there. So I'll probably video something if a tree comes down at any time. But this is kind of like a kind of old age for trees, really. You can just see it's blowing a bit in the wind there. You know, at some point these old trees go. So we'll see. Well, you've seen the video of the tree standing. Unfortunately, I'm now filming it down. This is a Morgan Sweet cider apple tree that was planted in 1838 by my great-great-grandfather when he planted a new orchard here. And unfortunately, it's now completely gone. So obviously it's nearly 180 years old. It wasn't going to last forever, but it's a real shock to see this down today. It's a bit of a combination of things. I mean, I noticed the roots are a little bit rotten. Some of the wood there looks quite old. But the tree itself has reached its end of its natural life. But with all the gales and the wet weather, it just had to go, unfortunately. You can see there, if I pan across, that's what a full-sized one looks like. So there you go. I mean, you know, 40 foot high, I would say. And here it is felled. So we'll have a little closer look. You can see its root structure here. I'm looking at this bit of wood here. I noticed that's quite rotten, so it's obviously on its way out in the roots. But you can see how wet the ground, it would have made it very soft, so it probably would have pulled up quite easily. But I noticed the trunk here where it's split at the top here. If I climb up onto one of the branches that's come down, it's hard to tell probably from the video, but this is actually dead wood. That bit on the outside still got a bit of life in it, but the actual core of the tree was rotten, so it wasn't going to last forever. But it's a real shame. I've got real good memories of this tree. When we were kids, we picked the cider fruit off it to sell for cider, and we used to have little battles with kids throwing apples at each other. You know, I mean, these trees don't last forever, and it's a natural kind of thing that they're going to die at some point. But it's quite sad. I'm quite sad to see it gone, especially as the heritage, you know, of my family planting this orchard. But the good thing is, I am actually going to plant another one to replace it. I looked on the internet last night, and one of these would cost me about £19 to buy a replacement tree that I can plant, a Morgan Sweet cider tree. They're predominantly from the West Country of Morgan Sweet. I think it started in Somerset. I read on the internet it was about the 18th century when they were first sort of cultivated. You know, and this is a big cider growing area. Gloucestershire and Somerset and Herefordshire, those sort of counties grew a lot of cider trees. But if you look across the rest of the orchard, you know, all the rest of the trees have nearly gone. There's one old pear tree down the bottom there, straight in the middle there, and there's one old apple tree there, and there's the last apple tree there. So it is sad, but luckily I've planted a new orchard in the other field, and I am going to replace this one because I'd always like looking across the farm to see the trees. And it is a sort of ending era for a lot of cider orchards now, because although I've replanted one and there are other people replanting the cider trees, a lot of people are just letting them go and reverting back to natural fields. So it's a great shame, really, but you know, every dog has its days, doesn't it, as they say. We'll just have a look around. I'm going to cut this up for logs at some point, but it's going to be a few months before that gets tackled, because I've got so many other jobs to do it in the middle of winter. Look at it, absolutely uprooted. And this would be the same throughout the whole of the West Country. There's been lots of damage done with storms. Right, well, I'm going to go back for my breakfast now, but you can see there's never a dull moment in a farmer's life. There's always something, and this is something else to tackle.